bad news, dishonest news, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It is all the rage in the media, especially when it comes to Tesla, and I get tired of it. I can't stand by when lies are being told, so I am going to join my good friend Mark. We are going to look at some of the silliest, most dishonest headlines of the week and break them on down. I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Ozza. Oh, Mark, what a week it has been in the news. Hey, haven't heard anything about the stock over the last bunch of days. I think some people are pretty happy.
I think there's a lot of people happy. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, mind you, we are recording this on Tuesday, so who knows? It could have gone down significantly since then or up. But the temperature, very, very unpleasant in my office, so bear with me if I have a heat stroke halfway through. Now you know why.
Let me get the phone ready to call 911. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah. Just put the numbers in, but don't hit send. It's fine. Tesla will not free up its batteries, leaving Tesla owners unable to reap full benefits. Oh no, what is this about?
Terrible news. This is an interesting article about Australia. And we know that Australia has been certainly an early testing ground for Tesla Megapacks, as well as, in this case, Powerwalls. But what's happening here is that there's different incentives in Australia, allowing people to collect some rebates if they allow their Powerwall to be used by the utility in certain circumstances, if they allow the Powerwall to be turned on or off or discharge or charge during certain hours. And we know that Tesla does this with its auto bidder program as well. And I think what this really is outlining is that there's a little bit of a disconnect between the utilities, the auto bidder programming software, Tesla itself, and what rebates are available in Australia. And this article kind of misrepresents itself, telling us basically that there's an issue that Tesla will not fix, so that these owners are not getting the full rebates they could enjoy if they were to do so. But I think this is more of just some wires crossed and some unwillingness on both sides to communicate effectively as to what these specific rebates could entail.
The way I'm seeing it is, the article points out that in some markets, it is required by law that these abilities be turned on. In Australia, it's not yet required. So Tesla keeps their API access guarded, because a poorly designed third-party system could cause damage. They could over or undercharge. They could do things in ways that are not good for the equipment. And Tesla's saying, look, if we don't have to grant access to these unvetted, perhaps poorly made systems, we're not gonna. We're gonna protect the equipment. Bit dishonest, kind of generally. But, hey, good news. That's the only bad news of the week. Oh, wait. Eye-opening. First-time Tesla Model 3 owner learns they can't charge at home. Have you heard? Did you know you can't charge at home? This must be a very unique situation to Tesla alone, and I'm sure if we scroll down, we won't find out that this is actually something quite stupid.
Yeah, this is another HOA problem, Homeowners Association. It's common in the U.S. and some other places where the Homeowner Association is really unsure about how electric cars work or charge or how much energy they use. And a lot of these HOAs will actually lock down the homeowner so that they cannot use the garage they have access to charge their vehicle. They say that the garage is wired for maybe a garage door opener, a light or two, and that's it. They don't want anyone messing with plugging a vehicle in, even to a 120 socket, because that could bring down the entire neighborhood. And they don't want any part of that. So it becomes an issue where they're really not too informed about what's going on with the charging of a vehicle and what would constitute a blackout for their entire neighborhood.
It's so dumb. This, first of all, why is Tesla in the headline? We know why, because it's juicy and it sells and people love that. But this isn't a Tesla problem. This is an HOA problem. If you've ever lived in a homeowners association, you probably don't have a good opinion about homeowners associations. They're kind of a hassle. They're kind of a nightmare. They can often do things that are genuinely stupid. You don't have a problem with people having lawnmowers in their garage and gas cans in their garage. Those are literally fossil fuel. I mean, those are combustible. So, yeah, but you know what we got to do, what we got to do, Mark, and what we got to do is put Tesla in the headline and not even mention HOAs really until you get way, way down in the article itself, which is pretty frustrating and stupid.
One thing I will mention about a PSA for this particular article is that if you're thinking about getting an electric vehicle, look into charging that vehicle before you purchased. Understand what you're going to have to do or what hoops you're going to have to jump through in order to get your EV charged. And that's some homework that you need to do before you actually sign the dotted line and receive that EV.
That is exactly true. That is exactly right. When I was ready to take the plunge and get an electric car, first I spent years trying to get my brother to come out and put the power in preemptively, and he never did. But I have a outlet in my carport, a 120, and we went ahead and stress tested it by plugging in an amount of holiday decorations some would consider significant enough to warrant a anonymous letter in the mail telling me, we get it, we get it. But when we scaled back, people told us in person, aw, but we love it. So we did, when I did get the car,
Isn't that called a Chevy Chase stress system test?
It might be. We didn't go that far, but we did have one instance where charging the car with everything on at once tripped the breaker. So we're like, okay, now we know what the limit is. But especially if you don't have home charging, you know, find out what your options are before making the decision. Now, if we really want to get crazy here, Mark, and you know me, I love to get crazy. We should discuss this bit of madness. 4,000-pound wrecking ball. Upscale California town still reeling from a Tesla ramming its post office. People get used to their routines. I don't know who came up with this subheadline here, but my gosh, I don't think that fits for this one, but yeah.
Yeah, this is sensationalism at its best. 4,000-pound Tesla wrecking ball, a great title. As it drove through a post office. But when you get into the details, you find out that this was a 74-year-old woman who looks like they might have got confused between the gas and the brake pedal and put a major hole in the front of a post office, even so far as to pushing it into the machinery that sorts mail. So it got deep into the post office.
And again, this is, help me out here, Mark. This is unique to Tesla, right?
Oh, yeah.
Surely this has never happened. I saw a great one it was probably 20 years ago now, but it was a Lexus that had crashed through the front window of a wrecking parts shop. And I was like, well, there you go. I mean, you're already here. It is in the town of, and I don't know if it's Carmel or Carmel, but I'm just going to call it.
It's Carmel by the Sea.
I'm going to call it Caramel by the Sea. A
famous town because, of course, Clint Eastwood was the mayor of that town.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Where they serve their delicious caramel pine cones. I'm pretty sure I've got all of the details of this story right. So that's, unique to Tesla. And of course, I'm so glad that we have this kind of quality coverage. And this is quality. I mean, low is a type of quality. So we've got
And if you go through the article in detail, Brian, the funny thing is that, man, it describes a lot about people's discomfort with having to go to the post office through the back door, and how their routines have been changed around, and how they're unable to pick up their mail like they regularly do, and talk to the town folk about the gossip. It's a crazy article about people's habit of picking up mail.
Wow. It is exciting. Life in Toffee by the Sea is, and no offense to the city. Of course, we're poking fun because it's what we do and we have fun. But we've got to keep moving on. This story is too exciting not to share. This is actually quality FUD. Tesla's sales reporting is hiding terrible Model S and X sales. The oldest cars sure don't seem to be selling well. So this started, the first person to use this headline was Fred from Electric. And I chose not to use his story because Fred is off the deep end and Fred is attacking everyone. And I don't wish to get attacked by Fred. Fred says, we're all in a cult. We all just hang on Elon's every word. And I don't do that, famously, infamously, whichever it is, and it doesn't go well for my career. So the last thing I need is either for Fred to turn on me or worse, to join me, because I think that would be even worse for business. Do you know what they're talking about here? Tell us what we're the theme.
They're talking about extrapolating the numbers for the other sales that Tesla puts on its financial sheets. We know that the 3 and the Y are together on the financial sheets, showing a specific number of production or sales. But there's also an other column that used to be strictly the S and the X, but they've added the Cybertruck to that other category, and they've added the Semi to that other category. And this is someone looking at the other numbers and trying to extrapolate what the S and the X numbers are specifically in the other category. It's an exercise where, you know what, there may be a down amount of sales for the S and the X, but they're kind of guessing at the numbers and they're making their best guess. And we've got a decline that they're showing, but yeah, the S and X have been declining for some time. After the refresh, they've started to decline again. They were declining before the refresh. So this is a wave that happens, and they're currently in a bit of a down phase.
This is all correct. You'll notice, though, it is true that other manufacturers are better about breaking out sales by unit and by region. Tesla is a bit unique in that lumping 3 and Y globally into one number is not super helpful because that's all the cars they make. And lumping the additional models into one group for 4 models is also not super insightful. But if this was important, Wall Street analysts would ask for the data. They would say, look, we're just not comfortable putting any more recommendations for buy orders on this company until we can see the data we need to see. They've decided that this is data they don't need to see. Yes, S and X sales are falling. And as I've said before, if you want a Model S, even a Plaid, the ludicrous 3 is going to get you just about there for a whole lot less money. And in many ways, the 3 is a better car. It fits in more driveways and parking spots. It's a higher volume vehicle, so it's going to have fewer gremlins in the early days of production and the later days. And for the Model X, unless you need those 6th or 7th seats, it's not going to, you're going to get a Cybertruck. You'd have to really hate the look of the Cybertruck to pick an X over a Cybertruck. My friend bought a refreshed X, and of course he now has also a Cybertruck because it's just way more exciting. The Model X had those Falcon Wing doors. That was its big appeal. The Cybertruck has its Cybertruck which is its big appeal. It's got, instead of a halo feature, it's got a halo everything, including the fact that it looks like a halo warthog. So it is, of course, it's going to, the other models are going to start pulling from SNX. And I put up a long post. Landon of the West, unsupervised on X, asked, when are they going to discontinue SNX and why haven't they? And I said, I can help. And the answer is, those are profitable vehicles made by a single line in a part of a factory that doesn't have a higher and better use. Just keep making them. As long as people keep buying them, keep making them. If sales continue to fall, as long as they're able to keep the line moving, they can make a profit. And it's possible that Roadster could be added to that line. So that line is making 3 vehicles. It's not unusual for a manufacturer to put more than 1 model or even 2 models on a single line and manufacture them in serial like that.
Yep.
So those are the answers. So much bad news this week, you guys. Oh my gosh. What are we? No wonder we're on the 9th consecutive bull day when we record this. It's just terrible. And yeah,
They got it. They got to get the FUD report out at some point, and it looks like they got a bunch of them together and went to press.
And I would say that they're not hiding the terrible S and X sales. They're just pushing them to the side. Anyone paying attention, like this author, can easily tease out what those numbers are likely to be. You take other, you subtract 5 to 10 semis, a rounding error, and then you subtract all the Cybertrucks recalled for the quarter, plus a handful. There you go. That's how many S and X they sold, is that difference. Well, and then add back in the Cybertruck sold prior to the quarter, but it was easy enough math for me. I was very close on the other category. So I was pretty proud of that. Of course, my numbers are often fairly good.
You are the numbers guy, Brian.
I am a numbers guy. There's a bunch of us who do pretty good work, but it's a very small part of what I do and a less and less important part of the analysis moving forward. We're going to have a semi-factory. They're going to start building. I got squares. I got to count, Mark. People are ready. People are excited. I wonder if anyone will step up to make their version of what I do. I'd be very interested to see how that goes. And if they do, I hope it's someone who's friendly and wants to make a fun game of it rather than a bitter rivalry. Because I've got enough bitter rivals out there. So, guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it in the comments below. Head over to The Tesla Life. See what Mark, Patrick, and Casey are up to these days. I'm still desperately behind on that, and I apologize because I enjoy the show, but as you know, I am just constantly in motion, and it's starting to make my head spin. But that might also be the heat. So like, subscribe, do the usual. You can do all those things and so many more. You can even help the channel out with $1 or $5 or $5 million. That is an option that is available for a limited time. So everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, when I am less juicy.